Shabbat Shalom. Yanai, nanai, nai, 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 nanai. Yai, nai, nanai, nanai, yanai, nanai. Yanai, nanai, nai, 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 nanai. Yai, nai, nanai, 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 nanai. Yanai, nanai, nai, 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 nanai. Yai, nanai, nai, yanai, nanai. Yanai, nanai, nai, yai, nai, nanai. Yai, nai, nanai, 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 nanai. Yanai, nanai, nai, yai, nai, nanai. Yai, nai, nanai, nanai, nanai. Yanai, nanai, nai, yai, nai, nanai. Yai, nai, nanai, nanai, nanai. Elech amnalibi. Husana be'anati talem. Elech amna, amnalibi. Husana be'anati talem. Elech amna, amnalibi. Husana be'anati talem. Elech amnalibi. Husana be'anati talem. Elech amna, amnalibi. Husana be'anati talem. Elech amna, amnalibi. Husana be'anati talem. Lechuna ranena, found on page 12 in your Sidurim. If you're looking for your Siddur, it is in your seat. Literally, reach to your right. You're going to find the Siddur right there. Lechuna ranena, lechuna ranena, lechuna ranena, l'Adonai. Lechuna ranena, lechuna ranena, lechuna ranena, l'Adonai. Naria, naria, letzuri shenu, lekanafanya v'toda. Naria, naria, letzuri shenu, bismiro naria lo. Lekone ranena, lekone ranena, lekone ranena, l'Adonai. Lekone ranena, lekone ranena, lekone ranena, l'Adonai. Naria, naria, letzuri shenu, lekanafanya v'toda. Naria, naria, letzuri shenu, bismiro naria lo. Lekone ranena, lekone ranena, lekone ranena, l'Adonai. Lekone ranena, lekone ranena, lekone ranena, l'Adonai.
This is not us at our best. We've had this before.
You got it.
Good Shabbos.
Shabbat Shalom.
There we go. Welcome to Temple Beth Am this Shabbat. We're delighted to see everybody. This is a very, very special Shabbat. We're celebrating a whole variety of things. And this was my dream. Multiple dinners in one place. We got 3 dinners tonight. That was always the dream, that you could come here. Most of you aren't invited to any of them, so it's not perfect. No. No, I'm just kidding. You're all. But it's a lot of great spirit tonight, and really this was the dream, to see Shabbat come alive each and every Friday night here at Beth Am, and afterwards seeing so many people celebrating Shabbat dinner together. This is one of my very, very favorite Shabbats of the year, our Talmud Torah Shabbat, and there are frankly not a lot of congregations that celebrate the learning of Torah the way we do, and have such a profound group of Torah scholars who really, Shabbat in and Shabbat out, make a great effort to study Torah here at Temple Beth Am. And now all of you scholars who are part of Beth Am University, and if you're not part of Beth Am University, and you're really excited for semester number 2, don't worry. It begins in March, and you're going to be seeing some great information about that. You're not going to believe, actually, some of the things that we have to offer. Tonight, as part of our Talmud Torah Shabbat, we have 2 winners this year, as chosen by our leaders and Torah students here at Temple Beth Am. One of our recipients, Sherry Lieberman, is at sea on a cruise, but don't worry. We sent Rabbi Aklepi on that same cruise. And so Rabbi Aklepi's following her around on the cruise with a chumash, with a Torah book, and whatever she does, Rabbi Aklepi is chanting verses in her ear so that she feels like she's here. But our other recipient, Dr. Abe Ben Yunus, is here, and we'll hear more from him later. But we say specifically tonight, Mazel Tov to Dr. Ben Yunus, one of our 2 recipients for this year's Talmud Torah Award. And while we are at it, we are also celebrating 2 very special events, as tomorrow, 2 of our students, Ava Shiner and Caleb Rosenberg, will be called to the Torah for the first time as a bar and bat mitzvah. And so we'd like to invite Ava and Caleb forward now, along with their families, Todd and Verena and brother Jordan, and Katie and Michael, along with Sadie and Max, for the honor of kindling our Shabbat lights and sanctifying this Shabbat as holy, as we turn in our prayer books to page 2.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kishanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner. להדליק נר של שבת. All right.
We sanctify this Shabbat as holy as we join with Caleb and Ava in the words of our Shabbat Kiddush. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kishanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava u'ratzon Hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit ki hu yom tehila lemikra kodesh zecher litziat Mitzrayim ki vanu v'acharta ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava u'ratzon hinchaltanu baruch atah Adonai mekadesh Shabbat.
We will continue with Lecha Dodi, which can be found on pages 20 and 21. We will be doing verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'divorecha tishmi anu el ha'miyuchad Adonai echad u'shemo echad shemul tiferet v'litila lecha dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela lecha dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela likrat Shabbat lekoveneneka ki mekor ha'meracha merosh mikedet nesuka sof ma'aseh b'machshava tekila Hayadai lecha dodi Hayadai likrat kala Hayadai b'nei Shabbat nekabela Hitoreri Kiva oren Kumi ori Shiraberi Kivod Adonai Alayik nikra Hayadai lecha dodi Hayadai likrat kala Hayadai b'nei Shabbat nekabela Boi v'shalom ateret mala Gam b'simcha u'b'tola Tov emunei ha'psegula Boi kala Hayadai lecha dodi Hayadai likrat kala Hayadai b'nei Shabbat nekabela
Remain standing as we turn our prayer books to page 28 for the call to worship. Baruch Hu.
Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Yada die, 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 die. Yada die, 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 yada die, die, die. Yada die, 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 yada die, die, die. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach. Le'olam va'ed. Le'olam va'ed. Yada die, die, die. 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 Yada die, die, die.
Please join with me as we read together on the bottom of page 30. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, thoughtfully alters the time and changes the seasons, and arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light, transforming day into night and distinguishing one from the other. Adonai Tzvaot is your name, ever-living God. May you reign continually over us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on evening. Baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravim. Tonight, not only are we celebrating our Talmud Torah Shabbat and two beautiful B'nai Mitzvah, but we're also celebrating that tomorrow, Andrew Grossman and his fiancée Sela will rise to the chuppah for the honor of being married, and we have a very special honor of celebrating their ufruf tonight. And ufruf is when you announce publicly to your community that you have the intention of getting married. So it is a great honor now to invite Andrew and Sela, along with Bill and Delia, to join us on the bima. I know I've been here now a long time because I remember Andrew more as a high school player and a golfer and a student at Michigan who only occasionally threw his clubs on the golf course, and is now such a mensch, prepared to marry. Okay, so we're gonna have to stand right here in front of everybody. So, Andrew and Sela, what a wonderful and momentous moment as you stand here underneath this talus, which represents the chuppah, under which you'll stand again tomorrow evening. The chuppah is a symbol of the Jewish home. Andrew, you come from an unbelievable, proud Jewish home where you've learned the mitzvot and the ways of our people. And now you bring Sela with you. And as I was explaining with you earlier and with your dad, I wasn't amazed when I heard her beautiful name Sela, but it took me a moment to realize that it's a word from our Tanakh, that it's a word from the Bible, from the book of Psalms, which I knew. I'm somewhat familiar with some of these words, but what I did not know so much was the deep musical connotation of the word. And I said, wow, how perfect is it that you as a musician found a woman with a musical name, and then your dad told me, but she's a musician too. And so it's beshert that the two of you in concert, thank you, in concert together, stand here to be blessed. Misha berach avotenu ve'imotenu Avram Yitzchak ve'Yakov Sarah Rivka Rachav Leah hu yivarech et hachatan ve'et hakala v'yatzliach et darkam asher yalchu ba me'ayom va'ala yachdav yimseu tamid chen v'chesed be'enei kol ro'ehem v'yizku levanot bait b'Yisrael v'shem el tehila v'yish shalom b'veitam v'shava v'sheket b'libotam kol yamim asher hem chayim ala dama ואת השושבנים ואת כל היושבים פה, הוא יברך בכל הטוב ויאריך ימיהם בני מין וישלח ברכה והצלחה בכל מעשה ידיהם עם כל ישראל אחיהם ונאמר Amen. May God, who blessed the men and women of Israel in every generation, bless this bride and this groom. Guide them on life's journey. May their marriage be a joy and a good example to all who know them. May they fashion a beautiful home worthy of praise, a secure refuge where they find tranquility all the days of their lives. May the love of this couple inspire and bless their family, their friends, and all the community of Israel, as we say together, Amen. Okay.
We continue on page 32 with Ahavat Olam. אהבת עולם בית ישראל עמך אהבת תורה ומצוות חוקים ומשפטים אותנו לימדת על כן אדוני אלוהינו בשוכבנו ובקומנו נשיח בחוקיך ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם לעולם ועד אהבת עולם בית ישראל עמך אהבת תורה ומצוות חוקים ומשפטים אותנו לימדת כי הם חיינו ובהם נקיים יומם ולילה ואהבתך אל תסתיר ממנו לעולמים ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל. We continue with the Shema. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Please be seated. Except for you guys. This is normal. Mazal Tov.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך וחיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך וחיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
These are two very strong students, if you hadn't noticed. Excited for tomorrow. We're going to continue now in our prayer books on page 39. Please join with me as we read together on the top of the page. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. Micha Mocha, page 40.
Micha Mocha ba'elim Adonai, Micha Mocha nedar v'kodesh, Micha Mocha ba'elim Adonai, Micha Mocha nedar v'kodesh.
ונאמר כי ודע אדוני יעקב וגלו מיד חזק ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai, haporeh sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. Hashkivenu, page 42.
ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך, ברוך אתה אדוני, הפורש סוכת שלום עלינו וכל עמו ישראל, ועל ירושלים.
The next piece, Vishamru, is a setting I highly doubt that you have heard before. When I met Eben Yunus back in March of last year, when I was here to interview and do a little audition in this room,
one of the pieces I was asked to prepare was a piece of chazanut. For those who are not familiar with chazanut, it's that Jewish sound that you think of a cantor from about 100 years ago. What someone recently told me when I sang a piece of chazanut was, I thought there was a record playing. I did not believe that was coming out of you. This is a style of music that highlights the text in a way that we don't hear so much anymore, that we'll have repetitions of words, that we will have lots of different notes, that we will have lots of different colors to express these words in the highest form possible. It's one of the reasons that we have our instrumentalists here with us today, and this piece was written for Henry Lefkowitz, who worked at Park Avenue Synagogue, a place that Abe and I have talked about many times. Vishamru, the Piska Diyoma, the verse of Shabbat, the children of Israel, they shall hold Shabbat, they shall celebrate it, they shall observe it from now until forever.
For the first couple of years, when our conservative service started at Beth Am, before Cantor Flaxman got here, I was the rabbi for those services and the cantor. And I used to do that same piece for the conservative service.
I figured.
And
That's why I picked it.
You're almost there. You almost have it.
I'm getting there. I'm going to listen to those tapes you gave me. Thank you, Rabbi.
We're going to continue now with the Amidah in our prayer books on page 46. Please rise.
Adonai, Sefatai Tiftach, Ufi Hagi Tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei HaKol, V'Zocher Razdei Avot V'Imahot, U'Mevi Geula Livnei V'neihem, Leman Shemo Be'ava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magen Avraham V'Ezrat Zara, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mekayem Metim Atah Rav Leoshia, Mashiva Ruach Umorita Gashem, Mekalkel Chayim Bechesed, Mekayem Metim Verachamim Rabim, Zomek Nofalim Verofeh Kolim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato, Lishene Avar, Mikamoka Bal Gevurot, Umidom Elach, Melech Memit Umekaye, Umatzmiach Yeshua, Vreman Atalekayot Metim, Baruch Atah Adonai, Mekaye HaMetim, Atah Kadosh V'Shimcha Kadosh, Ukedoshim B'Kol Yom Yalelu Katzela, Baruch Atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh.
We continue silently in either Hebrew or English through page 62.
Shalom bimromav, Hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru amen.
shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
From the time that I came to Temple Beth Am and saw how dedicated so many of our congregants are to the study of Torah and Judaism, to the love of our texts and the wisdom of our tradition, I truly recognize that in this place there is a great spirit. My friend David Schwadron used to tell me that at Temple Beth Am, amongst these huge congregation, there's a shul. And what he meant by that was there were a core of people who were incredibly committed, not only to prayer, but to study. And it didn't take long before we grew out of a room in one of the old buildings called the Adult Reading Room, because too many people were coming to study Torah. And we moved into the chapel. One of the things I was most impressed about was not only did people come to study Torah, but there was a tradition of honoring those who really exemplified what it means to appreciate and be dedicated to Jewish scholarship. Saturday mornings for me, walking into the Torah study room, are like the dessert of the week. It's what I most look forward to. And the group that is with us every Saturday is very special. If you've never tried it, you should. There's one Shabbat a year where they pass out paper and they say, all right, who among us deserves to be the recipient of the Talmud Torah Award honor this year? And every year I think, should be me. I've yet to win. I guess I'm not eligible. But it's fine. Let them have it. It's fine. One of my dreams for many, many years before I moved to Miami was to try to find a way for Jews who had so much in common to break down the barriers between them and to join together as Jews. And when we were finally, after many years, including struggles that I had at previous congregations, when I was finally able to see it come to fruition, to see that we could have Reform services and conservative services all here at Temple Beth Am, and then share everything else that we do together, it was really a dream come true, and I believe it's the wave of the future of liberal Judaism in this country. There are a lot of people we wouldn't have been able to achieve this goal with, but one of them most certainly is Dr. Abe Ben Yunus. I first got to know Dr. Ben Yunus because when you had a son and you needed something done, who are you going to call? And Dr. Ben Yunus went out of his way, what we call Mesirat Nefesh, the giving of his soul, to perform this mitzvah over and over and over again for so many Jewish male babies in our community. But slowly I got to know him on a personal level, as a davener, as a studier of Torah, and as one of the people who really helped us make the connection and allow us to finally fulfill this dream of having a conservative service here as well. He's behind the scenes. He doesn't seek the glory, but he does what's necessary for our congregation to function in the various holy ways that it does. And so it's an honor now for someone who's worked so hard behind the scenes for so long to publicly offer some glory as we welcome our Talmud Torah recipient for this year, Dr. Abe Ben Yunus. Mazel tov. Congratulations.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Esteemed clergy, distinguished leadership, all sitting right there in the back in 1.5 rows. Fellow congregants, members of my family, here today and virtual from New York, as far as New York and as far south as Bogota, Colombia. And being up here addressing you all makes me feel like a bar mitzvah boy, but quite a few years later. And it's really my distinct pleasure and privilege to be able to be up here with both families that I know for such a long time. The Shiners, Brett, Grandpa was a patient of mine a long time ago. And the Rosenberg family, all of them, not only was their pediatrician, but I also did the Brit Milah. So to be here with them is really, and to be here to celebrate with them is really very special for me. I feel totally humbled to be the recipient of this award, along with Sherry Lieberman, who was away on a cruise, as you heard. I'm a relatively new member of the synagogue, but always impressed at the vast number of Jewish learning opportunities offered, with new and innovative additions coming almost every month. Moreover, it is impressive to see so many people eager to participate in all of them. I know the rabbis would like to see more, and I can tell anyone who does not avail themselves, they do not know what they're missing. When asked to do the Dvar Torah for this Shabbat, I was reminded by my granddaughter Mia, who is here tonight. This was her bat mitzvah Torah portion. So for me and for my family, it's a double celebration. The Torah portion is Bo. God sends the 8th and 9th plagues, locusts and darkness. Moses and Aaron go, Bo, before Pharaoh, who still refuses to free the Israelites. I was taken with Rabbi Jonathan Sachs' commentary on the 4 passages that have become famous because of their appearance in the Haggadah on Pesach, and that is of the 4 children. As a pediatrician, I should say retired pediatrician, I was always intrigued by the traditional cultural approach that it is the task of the parent or teacher to instruct, guide, or command. The task of the child is to obey. And you heard the expression, children should be seen and not heard. Judaism, however, is a faith based on asking questions. We have 613 commandments, and there is no Hebrew word to the word obey. Rashi understands that God gave us the ability to understand and discern. And I think Rabbi Baris stated this joke before, but I got it from Rabbi Yismar Shorsh, who's the Chancellor Emeritus of the Jewish Theological Seminary. And I quote, "My mother made me a scientist without ever knowing it. Every other child would come back from school and be asked, 'What did you learn today?' But my mother would ask, 'Izzy, did you ask a good question today?' And that made a big difference. Asking good questions made Izzy a scientist. The plague of darkness was complete for the Egyptians, but for the Israelites there was light. Darkness represents evil, and unfortunately, there is so much evil in our world today. No news story is complete without a murder or, more recently, whole-scale massacres. Israel, our spiritual homeland, is surrounded by darkness. Many of our college kids are surrounded by the darkness of anti-Semitism. As Jews, we should be constantly asking the question, how do we become a light unto the nations? The very first of our requests in the weekday Amida is for knowledge, understanding, and discernment. Ata chonen le'adam da'at umlamed le'enosh binah. We must not let narrow-mindedness, knowing what we know and knowing what we like, to demean and diminish our Jewish values and patterns of Jewish observance. Bo indicates the most powerful and poignant juncture in Jewish history. In today's world, we must learn from the past, take a good look at the present, and hope that the future will bring light to the world. Even though our DNA dictates so much of what we think and do, today's scientific advances have been able to modify DNA for the betterment of humanity. We must do the same with our thought process and agree to disagree with another opinion, but strive to see a ray of light and not just darkness in that other opinion, and hope that collectively it will all serve the common good. We must welcome the goodwill and actions of non-Jews who see our safety and propagation as a precursor of the second coming. We must also continue to educate ourselves and our children with Torah and augmented patterns of Jewish observance that are relevant in today's world. It's fascinating to me that the Pittsburgh Platform of Reform Judaism in 1885 stated that many patterns of observance, and I quote, are foreign to the mental and spiritual state of the modern Jew, end quote. And these are now becoming relevant once more. Preserve and remember the old and sanctify the new. It is then and only then that we will truly be a light unto ourselves, our families, the Jewish people, and the nations of the world. Shabbat Shalom.
We're looking forward to celebrating with Abe at dinner afterwards. And we thank him for his beautiful words of Torah. It's very heartwarming to see so many of our past winners who are here tonight, and those who are usuals in Torah study. And a special shout out to Lenore Kipper, one of our leading scholars who's here with us as well. And thank you, Lenore. We'd like to take a moment now to ask God for healing for our friends and neighbors and loved ones who are not well and are in need of God's healing presence. If you have a name of someone that you'd like to include in our prayers, please feel free to share that name aloud at this time.
John Calloway.
Say Baruch Atah Adonai Rofeh HaCholim. Bless you, O God, who brings healing to the sick. Our Mishaberach prayer is found on page 253.
And all who came before, Avotenu. May your love and guidance open every door. Misheperach Avotenu. God of our people, and whose strength will never cease. Misheperach Imotenu. May your love and guidance be a path to peace. There comes an ancient yearning. No challenge can destroy. And from the seeds of faith and hope and learning comes a never-ending story built on family, hope, and joy. Misheperach Avotenu. God of our people and all the stars above. Misheperach Imotenu. Help us grow the circle forged from strength and love. There comes an ancient learning. No obstacle can tame. And here and now we feel the seasons turning as a brand new spark is added to the sweet eternal flame. Misheperach Avotenu. God of our people and all the stars above, may you bless all those who've gathered as we grow the circle forged from strength and love. As we grow the circle forged from strength and love.
We continue with Aleinu on page 282. Please rise as the ark is open.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גאולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
Please be seated. Our thoughts turn now to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. We're sending condolences tonight to the family of Sari Band Klater, and we're saying Kaddish tonight for Suzanne Sammy Gerber. We are in the period of Shloshim, the 30-day period of mourning for Dr. Gerald M. Rosen, Jeffrey Baina, Samuel Shore, and Alice Margolis. We are in the first year of mourning for Edward Blumenthal, William S. Eckenbaum, Ella Riley Adler, Jerry Benjis, Saul Victoria Amar de Benamu, George Bernstein, Sheldon Bernstein, Robert Bob Blumenthal, Barbara Bronfman, June Elizabeth Brown, Daniel Vander Rice Cohen, Nancy Goldman Deutsch, Helene Schoenbrunn Dubbin, Herbert Fink, David Frankel, Stephen Gross, Moses Hersman, Dr. Ira Carmen, Gerald D. Jerry Kelfer, Susan Sue Clow, Howard Kleinberg, Merle Kravitz, Janice Levine, Joyce Hessel Mackler Fisher, Reba Eskowitz Magids, David Ellis Malin, Edward Pulwer, Lenore Raven, Shirley Rosen, Anna Sheldon, David Spencer, Maura Sharon, Max Spiegelman, Fran Storper, Berta Topol, Burton Young, Enrique J. Zadoff. We mark on the occasion of their yortzites on this Shabbat, Constance Miller Bennett, Goldie Gottlieb, Irving Gottlieb, Max Kleiman, Jay Lashaw, Ruth Lashaw, Ronald Jacobs, Marcia Sank Miller, Ruth Polk, Charlotte Reisman Sirkin Aidman, Max Sager, Susanna Schneiderman, Erwin A. Sank, Dorothy Sturmack, Gloria Jean Walkind Wallens. Are there any other names to include on our yortzeit list? The memory, sorry. The memories of all of them are with us as we praise God and pray for the coming of God's kingdom as we turn together to the Mourner's Kaddish on page 294. Please rise. Yitgadal v'yikadash shemei Rabbah v'yomad divrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayechon v'yamechon v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam omei omaya yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shmei d'kudsha b'richu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran be'oma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min shemaya v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imrama Huyaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel. And let us say,
Amen.
Please be seated. It is my pleasure now to invite forward the president of our congregation, Rich Siegel, for some words of greeting and some announcements.
Shabbat Shalom. Good crowd tonight. So, first I'd like to thank Rabbi Barris, Cantor Flaxman. You were on fire tonight for leading such a beautiful service. Liera, our rock. I don't even miss Billy. Billy who? These guys are just amazing. I think that's Jason and Alex. Did I get that right? Thank you for being with us. Just beautiful. Mazel tov to the Rosenberg family on Caleb's bar mitzvah, and to the Schneider family on Ava's bat mitzvah. I love reading about the kids in the commentator and what the parents have to say to describe them. So Caleb was described as a witty mensch, which I read and I'm like, he's just like me. He's going to grow up to be like me. Good for you. Taller, yes, already. Yeah. Look, I'm 2 inches away from needing the platform that slides out here, okay? Ava was described as a ballerina and an honor student, which could not be farther from what I am. So mazel tov to you both. Mazel tov to Andrew and Selah on their wedding tomorrow. If there's one person that has to be thanked or blamed more than anyone for me standing up here, it's Billy Grossman. Billy saw something in me many years ago when he asked me to be on his management team when he was president of the congregation. And I felt like I owed him something. So, of course, me being the researcher I am, I went and found Andrew and Selah's wedding registry online. So of course, first thing I did is I filtered it for gifts under $50. And I saw that they were registered at Crate and Barrel, and there was only one thing that hadn't been purchased yet, and it was this really cute Crate and Barrel 14-ounce coffee mug that's $3.97. And they requested 8 of them. 7 of them have already been purchased. And to ship the 8th one to them would be twice as much as the mug itself. So when you get your gifts in the mail, you have to figure out who was the person that ordered 7 of the 8 and couldn't go for the extra $3.97 and get the full set. So in any event, I usually leave my wallet in the car, but I did bring a $5 bill with me. I'm going to give it to Billy. Next time you're at Crate and Barrel, get the mug, get the money from your dad. And Mazel Tov. So what else do we got going on? Torah study with Rabbi Barris tomorrow at 9 a.m., Minyan at 10:30 in the chapel with Rabbi Greengrass and Jessica Bass. Next Friday, we have 2 great things coming up. Next Friday is our Super Bowl Shabbat. Definitely come out. It's led by our religious school. It's one of our best Shabbats of the year, followed by a Michael Meltzer catered tailgate, which is kind of like an oxymoron, but it's going to be delicious. And of course, I'm going to start giving a shout out every week now to Mitzvah Day, the greatest day on campus, Sunday, February 23rd. Go to the website. There are so many great opportunities to do mitzvah for our community. And of course, Mazel Tov to the recipients of the Talmud Torah Award. Sherry, who everyone knows now is on a cruise. Dr. Ben Eunice, who I've known for many, many years. When we were of childbearing age, you would see Dr. Ben Eunice at every 8 days after every boy was born. And in addition to being a Torah scholar, he was the mohel of choice in Dade County. And I remember I said to him once, you do these so much, it must be a nice second source of income for you. And of course, he said to me that his fee is actually quite nominal, but he does it for the tips. Thank you. Thank you. How could we honor a mohel and me not say something like that? Lastly, I was quite moved this week by what occurred in Washington, D.C. with the American Airlines collision. I grew up in the suburbs of Washington. I grew up as a child flying in and out of what was called National Airport back then, D.C. National. And I remember as a little kid, it's one of those airports that you really feel like you're going to land in the Potomac, right up until the very minute that the runway arrives underneath you. So it really moved me to think about what these poor people went through in the final moments of their lives. And speaking of Ronald Reagan, it actually reminded me of my favorite Ronald Reagan speech, which he delivered right after the Space Shuttle Challenger crash. I was in college, and I remember sitting at the student union and listening to his speech. And he excerpted from a poem called High Flight, which was written by a fighter pilot in World War II about flying. And this Shabbat, let us take a moment to pray for all of the 67 victims who lost their lives in the collision, including a flight attendant named Ian Epstein, who was a BBYO alumnus from Charlotte, North Carolina. And let us, and I too will excerpt from the poem High Flight for these tragic victims when I say, "Oh, I have slipped the surly bonds of earth and danced the skies on laughter-silvered wings. I put out my hands and touched the face of God." Shabbat Shalom.
Wow. Usually Rich says that he doesn't like to follow when I speak, but that's a tough act to follow. Mazel Tov to the Shiner family. We cannot wait for tomorrow. And to the Rosenberg family, as you both called to the Torah for the first time as B'nai Mitzvah. Of course, one last Mazel Tov to Dr. Ben Eunice and Sherry Lieberman, who's probably now on her way to the Martini Bar or wherever she is on board. But Dr. Ben Eunice is here with us now, and we'll celebrate in just a little bit. Truly a magnificent honor, and your commitment to continue your study of Torah. As we finish every time a book of Torah, we immediately turn to the next page and begin anew. Mazel Tov also to Andrea and Sela. It's just amazing, Andrew, that you're getting married. Just seems like it went by really fast since you were at Michigan, and truly incredible. Like Rich, who was up here because of Bill Grossman, I'm also up here because of Bill Grossman. who was the head of what's widely considered one of the great rabbinic search committees of our time. A mazel tov to the entire Grossman family, and Sela and your family. Welcome to our community. We're so delighted for you and excited for the wedding tomorrow night. We're going to conclude our service tonight with Al Shlosha Devarim, which is in the prayer book on page 338.
Al Shlosha Devarim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Ha'olam Omed, Al Shlosha Devarim, Ha'olam Omed, Al Torah ve'al Avodah ve'al Gemilut Hasadim, Al Torah ve'al Avodah ve'al Gemilut Hasadim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Ha'olam Omed, Al Shlosha Devarim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Ha'olam Omed, Al Shlosha Devarim. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Okay. Shkaya.